hello, and welcome to a podcast or something. I'm here to talk to you today about the bakery or like eating foods or cooking foods or so. They brought me to the studio. We're going to be, this does look delicious. It will upset me, but it does look quite scrumptious. So this will be a podcast where you will sit and listen to me eat these delicious looking bakery treats. And
Do we get to try them things you're making?
No, they are for me. Please, who let the homeless man into the studio?
Hey, man, I'm not homeless. I got a home. I'm just from down south.
Who let the southern homeless man into the studio?
I take offense to that.
Don't I leave the fences where they are? Who lets the fenceless homeless man into the studio?
What are you gonna make for us today?
We're eating. There's no we. I am eating the pastry, and you will go away now.
Who would want to listen to a show with you eating?
I don't know. They brought me here. Would somebody please? Is there security?
All right. I gotta put a nail in that one. Welcome everybody. The real show is not about
Eating
AJ
pastries.
in a weird voice eating
I'm
pastries.
German.
The real show is called Evil Safety Dudes, and it's about all things OSHA, all things safety, all things security. Basically, to sum it up, how not to die on the job. There's thousands and thousands of Americans and workers worldwide who don't come home after clocking in. So we got a show to help increase the odds where people actually get to go home. Like punch out. Like punching in is easy, but we're the punch-out specialists.
Oh, yeah. Man, especially after the class we've been taking, like, look at how easy it is just for people to just disappear at work. Like, the stubbish we went over today was, I thought, especially, like, whoa.
Let's start a new podcast called The Punch-Out Specialist. and we'll talk about fighting and punching out of the clock. It'll be like a safety mix with MMA.
Well, yeah, but then eventually, I know it's going to happen. It'll go from being the punch-out specialist to the knockout specialists. And it will never stop. It will just always be something new.
All right, Mr. AJ. What do we got in this specific show? What are we talking about?
I think what are we doing today? I think we're doing training.
We're talking about safety training.
Something
that you and I are uniquely qualified to speak on just because we actually get paid to do it.
Well, join with me today in the IBC podcast fort is an especially fantastic trainer, the guy who trained me how to train, Mr. Aaron Iacino. My trained trainer.
Thank you, sir. But I know you've had many, trainers in your life.
I mean,
yeah.
My first safety trainer.
Yeah, all right. Okay, I'll take that one. And I am joined by Mr. AJ Hanscom, the world's best class clown.
I mean, I was pretty good.
And safety trainer.
I was pretty good. Not even going to lie.
Did you get in trouble a lot as a kid?
No, my teachers loved me. That was probably the worst part about me being a class clown.
They encouraged it?
Yeah. Well, I had like great grades, and
so you weren't? Were you
I was a terrible
teacher's
class clown.
pet or a class clown?
Oh, I was definitely the class clown.
Oh, okay.
I would not.
But they
shut
liked
up
you
for whatever reason.
See, I was a class clown too, and my teachers, some of them did not like that.
Oh, well, I was also really respectful. So like I always told jokes, but then if they were like, "AJ, could you give us a second?" I'd be like, "All right."
Well, that's cool. But AJ, you are an OSHA authorized outreach trainer. Which means you are authorized by OSHA to teach the 10s and 30s. Now, you do this for the general industry and construction.
Oh, we both do. But yeah.
And I know you're a OSHA 30 and OSHA 10 training full.
I do. I train a lot of 10s and 30s.
Each year, probably, I don't even know. I don't count. It's
That's the worst part. I don't know if you remember this, but last year we had 2 30s and 2 10s happening at the same time.
I mean, not literally at the same time.
Well, I mean, but
yeah. Like, because they were scheduled.
One day I would do day
blocks.
1 of this group's 30, and then like the next day I would do this group's day. Oh my gosh.
Well, when we do them for the high schools like that.
Yeah.
We have Group A, Group B, and we got multiple ones going on, different periods.
Companies.
Yeah, it's hard to track.
Oh my goodness.
But no, I just brought that up because they tell me in the professional podcastery world that you should tell the audience why they should listen to us. And so I think they should listen to you because you I don't know. Let's do some quick math. If there is 52 weeks in a year, right?
Okay.
And if you times that by 40-hour work weeks, does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's 2,080.
Okay.
52 weeks times 40. All right. Now, you're probably not training that much, but I bet you're training like 1,700 hours a year.
Okay.
Like, you're probably training more than you're sitting at the desk.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. We have stand for a living jobs. We don't get to sit for a living jobs.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
So, I wanted to do this podcast on training so we could just talk about, good ways to do it, bad ways to do it, lessons we've learned.
I like that.
I've made a lot of mistakes, so I could share with people like what not to do, as well as some things that I learned that were good. But
it's because all the time we're always telling people, hey, if you're using ladders, go get ladder training. Hey, if you're doing this, go get this training.
Yeah.
So today's class is going to be maybe some training, pros, cons, pitfalls, suggestions.
Now, I haven't met the 3 people that listen to us, but I would bet the people that are listening to us are not laborers. I bet you they're safety managers.
Well, yeah.
They probably have safety as a part of their job.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
I mean, you got some of your clients that they probably tune in, but
right.
I think the majority of our audience are probably in charge of safety.
I could definitely see that.
So, they're the ones that are going to be doing the safety training.
Yeah.
So, I think it'd be applicable. But before we jump too far into it, what's new with you? The podcastery listeners, I'm making up words. They are dying to know since last week what you've been up to.
What we've been up to?
I get emails. It's like, what's AJ been up to?
I'm very doubtful. Otherwise, it made me feel pretty good. But I mean, not a ton. I tried out a new crock pot recipe.
I was pretty sure you were going to talk about your other new toy.
Oh, no, I talked about them last time.
Oh, okay.
I was very excited about it.
Well, you're still talking about them to me.
I'm telling people like constantly. My 80-pounders,
yeah.
I'm in love with those things. They are great. I'm just working on getting strong enough so I can throw them around constantly with like nothing. Like that's the current goal. But no, I threw together a really good chicken. It was funny. I started off this podcast talking about eating, but I threw together just like it's a chicken salsa. It's like the easiest thing to put in a crock pot.
Chicken salsa?
Yeah. You just take chicken breast, and then you need just corn, beans, and salsa. Throw it in the crock pot and just let it slow cook.
So it's not chicken flavored salsa.
No. It's just like this salsa
it's salsa
chicken.
flavored chicken.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's like the easiest thing in the world to make, and it's just great for me because.
How many grams of protein?
Well, in chicken breast, isn't it like?
I don't know.
It's 70 grams per pound.
I don't have that memorized.
Or per 8 ounce per half pound.
I defer to you on those type of questions.
Something like that.
All right. Well, that's cool, man. Good food is good. I've also been.
What's new with you?
I've been eating a lot of steak. I had a cookout and I had a ton of leftover carne asada.
Ooh.
So I figured out 3 cups of that was 75 grams of protein and 1,018 calories.
1,018 calories.
3 cups of grilled flank steak.
Carne asada. That sounds tasty.
Yeah, so that's been like my lunch.
Is 3 cups of flank steak?
Yeah, I'll put some hot sauce on it.
For sure.
Yeah, maybe some pico de gallo or something.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need it because I marinate it. Like, it's seasoned enough. But I've been enjoying my high-protein real food. As you know, I changed up my diet. I'm done with, like, fake food.
Got rid of fake sugar.
Yeah, I still do some fake sugar. But I'm done with aspartame and saccharin. And I'm also done with, like, protein bars, protein shakes, like food fabricated in plants, which
you were the guy that was like living off of those too.
I was living off fabricated food, and it didn't really do anything for me. So
for sure,
switch it up. And all right, cool. Well, people are not here about our diets.
I don't know.
Maybe
I would listen to people
out there.
Some of my favorite things to watch on like Instagram is just people making delicious food. So
yeah, I love food shows. I'm a sucker for a good cooking show.
Oh yeah.
But let's talk about training. So tell me why people need to provide training for their employees. Can you think of one subject that OSHA says you have to train your employees in this, else we will bust you?
Well, if you're going to the have to, for me, it's always bloodborne pathogens. If you want to talk about a have to training, you have to.
And how often does OSHA say you have to do that?
Upon initial hire.
Okay.
Or assignment, and annually thereafter.
Right, that's for sure one. What else you got? Let's just stick with some annuals for a second.
Let's do the annuals.
What do you know that OSHA says annual, have to every year?
I know fire extinguisher training is one of the annual requireds.
All right.
This one's interesting, but HAZCOM has an annual requirement.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the wording though, because the wording's tricky. But there is an annual requirement under HAZCOM, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
And for those of you who wonder what annual means, it means you have to do it every year.
You got to do it every year.
And if OSHA wants to really get nitpicky on you, they could even bust you if it's 13 months versus 12 months.
Yeah.
But You'd have to really get them mad probably for them to dig that deep.
I mean, you would if you could show them years and years and years, where like you're constantly hitting,
Right.
Got it in 2012, 13, 14, 15.
Technically, I know that's in there.
Right. It doesn't say annually. It actually says within 12 months.
Right.
So, yeah, if you trained in like February and then the next year you didn't train until December, they'd be like, whoa.
Well, you can go early unless you're talking about December.
December the next year.
Yeah, that would be bad.
They'd be like, whoa.
That's almost 2 years.
Yeah, you're almost 2 years off. So,
what about lockout tagout? What's annual in that?
Well, you have to train annual lockout tagout, but it's on, isn't it the machine-specific requirements have to be done annually? Like if you do annual training.
Well, I know there's a review of the procedures that's required to be done annually for sure. That's an annual audit of your procedures.
Right.
What about confined space? Not necessarily a class, but what's something that's got to be reviewed annually?
All confined spaces in the facility.
No, I'm not aware of that one, but there's something that they say you have to keep on file so you can review it every year. Make sure people are doing it right.
Well, are you talking about the 12-month?
I didn't do the music.
So we're playing
Ask AJ. Well, until you ask me questions, then it's Ask AJ.
So I believe you're just
permits.
referencing, after a permit's complete, it must be stored on file for at least 12 months.
Yeah, because you got to review them every year.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Well, that's why you got to hold them.
In case of review.
No, not for OSHA. That's for you to do an internal audit. Make sure your employees are following your program.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
We'll have to look it up.
Yeah, I need to
Don't
look back
trust
at
the
that
safety
again.
guy. All right, let's go back to training.
No, please trust us. Don't turn off the podcast.
Let's see. I know another annual one. HAZWOPER.
HAZWOPER has an annual requirement.
8 hours.
8-hour annual.
Yeah. And HAZWOPER is the hazardous whoppers that have sat out for long periods of time, and
The
then they sold
hazardous
them.
whoppers?
No, it's the hazardous waste response. It's emergency response basically.
Right.
It's twofold. It's for people that work at a plant where there is a spill. They're not professional spill cleaner upper dudes. They just
Spill cleaner upper
that's
dudes?
official. It's right in the OSHA.
I'm going to just write that from now
in
on
the
the marker
OSHA
board, like
literature.
when people come in for class.
I'm
you
just
are
kidding.
here for your 8-hour spill cleaner upper dude class.
Yeah. Or dudette. But even if you're not a professional
Spill cleaner upper.
yeah, but you are allowed to clean up spills if they happen. That regulations for you, and then the people that actually like get paid to clean up spills. So that's a every year.
There's an annual requirement under machine guarding.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
But
Just on
again,
training, like
well, it's
to go
similar to the
fix
HAZWOPER
guards
one.
and guards and
Yeah, because it's not for every single employee.
okay.
It's
I'll have to
under the
look
machine
that one
guarding
up.
standard.
I know for sure there's one on respiratory protection for people who wear respirators.
If
They have
wear
to be trained
respirators, they have
every
to be
year.
trained annually.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff out there that requires it. I think there might even be one on emergency action plans.
I know the fire extinguisher one for sure.
Maybe one on access to medical records or injury reporting. I don't know. Let's go to periodics. What's something OSHA says that you got to do, not every year, but it's only good for so many years?
Well, there's certain certifications. Forklift certification is only good for 3 years.
3 years.
Right.
I wonder with the new MEEP standard if they'll.
You're slowly just turning into
MEEP.
You're slowly just turning into Beaker.
MEEP. Mobile elevated work platforms. Did I say it right?
Yeah, mobile elevator work
If
platforms.
ANSI has their way and OSHA adopts their new update, I wonder if they'll have a similar thing like that in forklift. They ought to just do all operator certifications like the forklift standard. That's how we do it.
Right, we just certify everything.
We certify people to run boom lifts, sort lifts, the same level of training standards of power industrial truck and for the same length.
Well,
it exceeds by far what OSHA says,
I'm
but
going to put somebody in something that can take them 100 feet in the air. Even, you know what? Let's not even go that far. Even 20 foot in the air.
yeah, scissor lift.
I mean,
yeah.
it's still is a huge capacity for danger.
Still 8
falling
people
out, getting
dying
cut
every
in half.
year from falls. I heard
8. It's gone down.
8 tip over fatalities in scissor lift every year.
Oh,
on
that's
average.
just the tip overs.
Yeah, that's just the tip.
Just
overs.
the tip overs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even counting the people who get caught in pinch points and cut in half, or people who get tipped
Smash.
out.
Yeah.
All sorts of fun stuff.
Have we did one on our list before, didn't we? A podcast?
Yeah, we did.
All right, cool. All right. Now, it's not really an OSHA thing, but I know CPR training, most of the brands only do 2-year cert on that.
Okay.
And OSHA does require it in certain circumstances.
Okay.
Oh, no,
man.
Ask AJ.
I got so much brain fog today. All right, let's try it.
do
Let's see what I
you-
got.
Do you know what the OSHA reg says about requiring first aid or CPR training?
I can think of what construction is coming to mind
Okay,
right now, where
yep,
you gotta have somebody first aid CPR trained if you are like an unreasonable amount of time away from medical service.
Yeah, and I never can remember that minutes, if it's 15 or half hour, but yeah, it's in the reg for construction. If your response time is over what they feel is safe, you have to
Right.
have at least one person trained in first aid CPR
Right.
on that site.
And available. So you can't just be like, oh yeah, Clem's trained. Well, where's Clem? Oh, he's off today.
You know what
Like-
really bothers me about CPR training?
What's that?
Up until a few years ago, employers made it like all the other training. It was mandatory.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not just saying it as a guy who billed for it, and I missed the big bills, but we're talking about full CPR classes all the time.
Right.
And
I
for
mean,
the
yeah.
last many years, the classes dwindled down. And I asked people, oh, well, we're not allowed to make it mandatory anymore. Now we have to ask for people to volunteer for it.
Oh, boo.
Everybody's scared about being sued for mandating their employees do CPR training. It's like,
Right? It's a life-saving
Come on.
skill
Yeah,
that people take
yeah.
home with them.
Yeah.
We all live with somebody.
yeah, for sure.
You know,
That's
most of
not
the-
just a workplace
Yeah.
skill.
Most of the time when they'll probably ever need to use it, it's going to be on the street when
At
they're not at
Walmart.
work. Yeah. When they're not at work or at home
At the
with their
grocery
loved
store,
ones.
at the gas station.
Like, I mean, this isn't just a guilt plug to try to tell people to go take CPR. But honestly, like, if I was at home and something happened and I feel like a bumbling idiot because I'm on the phone with 911 and they're like, oh, just do your best, do this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that rolling through my head later going, I wish I would have taken CPR.
Yeah, but that's how a lot of employers have gone. They quit making it mandatory. They just take volunteer. Classes have dwindled. I bet you if they did some statistics nationwide on the amount of, just go to the Red Cross, go to the American Heart, see if they would give you the data, just like how many current certified people do you have 2021, and not even 2021 because I'm sure it got hurt by COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Because CPR training
Heck
pretty
yeah.
much died in 2020.
Yeah.
But like go 2019, like let me see your current certified people total amounts for 2019 versus 2010, and I guarantee it would be a staggering difference. And that's scary to
can see
think
that.
that there's so many less people out there that know first aid CPR.
Right.
And if you think about it, why do people even get that training? For their job.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a few people that get it just because. There's a couple grandmas out there. It's like, oh,
We should
when
get it just
I'm
in case.
babysitting my new infant that's coming soon and it chokes, I want to know what to do. Like I
There you
get
go.
that. No, seriously, I
Yeah.
get that every now and then.
We did a one for one of the other companies I work with, and this was like about 3 years ago now. But they just wanted one just for people to do voluntarily, just at their own. And so we did one for them afterwards.
That's how they all are now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's every 2 years. All right, let's talk about new hire safety orientation.
That's a big kahuna right there.
Do
gotta do
you
a lot.
even have to do it?
You have to do it. You have
How
to
come
do it.
nobody does it then, AJ?
Well, because they need people to get to work. That's why they hired them. So they just hire them and they put them straight to work thinking, oh, they'll learn what they need to know at work.
Right. And we're working a case right now where it was an employee complaint.
Yes. Oh,
OSHA
my.
comes in and they haven't got cited yet, but we assume one of the citations they're going to get is failure to provide some type of orientation training.
Yep.
So there's so many regulations that do say prior to actually doing it, like
Mm-hmm.
prior to using the ladder, you got to be trained on it.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to using fall protection equipment, you got to be trained on it.
And this
it's
is
like,
a struggle, like, personally I'm having. One of my biggest clients, you know who I'm talking about. Well, you know who they are. You probably don't know this issue, and this is something I'm always trying to push and impress on people is if you want to hire somebody, we have to put them through our new hire orientation training. And now they've gotten so sick of, like, having to plan out that extra first day that now these people just show up at work and the rest of us don't even find out about them.
yeah, it's not good.
I know. It's
Because
a huge
if there's
struggle.
an injury and the probabilities of getting injured when you're new is high, one, you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Two, you're trying to show that off that you do.
Right. You don't want to lose your job.
New people are trying to impress everybody.
Yep. They got places to go,
And
money
they
to make.
don't
man.
know what they're doing.
No, I have no idea.
And that's a recipe for disaster.
And this is intricate trade craft work.
Right.
Like, these aren't just people standing there holding something.
Yeah, sharp stuff, power tools, heights.
Yep. And
ergonomic issues.
Man, is that stress, that
Hoisting,
importance of
rigging.
getting that new hire orientation? It's a need. Like,
Yeah,
beyond
for sure.
the regs say you got to do it, but man, everybody going home safe with all their body parts comes first.
How many clients do you think do ladder training that we don't make them do?
That we don't. I was gonna say all of them, but wait, that we don't make them do it. If we don't make them do it, they're not doing it.
You know, power tool training,
Again, if we're not making them do it, they're not doing it.
machine guarding training.
It's the same answer.
Yeah. So that's a different category for me. I call it one-offs.
Yeah.
Or
they
career.
got to have it at least one time in their career.
Yeah. If OSHA comes on site, employees on a ladder, they say, "Oh, you use ladders here. Has that employee been trained?" You're like, "Yeah." And OSHA's going to say, "Prove it."
Yeah. Where's your proof of training?
And if you could dust off a roster, even if it was from 10 years ago, but had that employee's name on it and the topic said ladders,
Yeah.
they're going to go, "Okay, good enough," because in the regulation, it doesn't say that this training expires like in forklifts.
Right.
But the problem is that most employers are not training on what they consider this common sense stuff. Ladders, power tools, slip, strips, and falls, ergonomics, back safety. They're just like, "I'm not training somebody how to swing a hammer. I wouldn't have hired them if they didn't have experience." Well, that's cool, but you need proof that you have trained them in what you've asked them to do.
Right.
That's how I simplify training. Anything you tell, it's not really asking, anything you have an employee do,
That's fair.
you have to train them on it.
Yep.
And most employers just go, "Why would I train somebody to use a ladder?"
Yeah, I get that.
If they weren't capable of using a ladder, we wouldn't have hired him. We saw on his resume he spent 10 years doing maintenance for this company. So, yeah.
He's got experience using ladders. He's got experience using power tools.
And it's just crazy. Even like welding, cutting, torching. I shouldn't say no company, but several companies have no documentation that they have trained their people on welding, cutting, or torching, yet they're welding, cutting, and torching for them.
Right.
Now, they hired an experienced welder.
Right. Or even a certified welder.
But they don't have any documentation of training.
Right.
OSHA comes on site, sees that guy torching, asks for training. They don't have it. Citation City.
Yep. Well, because it's two different things, too. Like, on one hand, someone can have experience or knowledge of how to use something, but not have any knowledge or experience getting the regulations.
Right.
And so that's why, it should always go both hand in hand. You should say, at our company, these are our rules, our regulations, our requirements. Yeah, sure, I'm glad you know how to swing a hammer. But here we've made all hammer work, you have to use gloves or whatever.
Yeah, you have to inspect before you use it.
Right.
If it has this type of damage on it, you can't use it.
No taping your hammer handle.
Yeah, so on and so forth. Like actual training to the reg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I believe in it. I actually think it's worth it. The longer I've been in safety, the more I've been like, wow. Like, I get to a new injury, and I'm like, this could so easily have been prevented. Why didn't this guy ever get told not to do this? And then there's other people that, of course, they've been through it all, and they still hack an arm off or something.
Right.
And just like, why, dude?
Well, at least you have documentation. You train them. Maybe you can get unavoidable employee misconduct at that point.
Hey, it happens.
But when you don't have proof of training, you're going to eat that one.
Yep.
Let's sum it up on training on the types. So, new hire orientation.
Right. You got
New hire safety orientation, not HR. We're not the HR show.
No.
You don't want me talking about HR.
This could still become the pastry
I am not
podcast.
an expert on that.
If you sit down and eat
But a lot of companies doing an HR style orientation, but not a safety. So what we're talking about specifically a new hire safety.
New hire
orientation.
safety.
All right, so that's one. Let's see if we can get 3 more categories of training.
Well, we got our annual training.
Got to do annual training.
Right. You've got your certification training.
Yeah, I'll accept that as a category because OSHA does require certifications on certain things. And then you got your periodic, which is like your forklift certification, which expires every 3 years, or your first aid.
Okay.
And then you got what I call the one-offs, that one and done. That career training. Once in the history of their employment with you, you got to show them you train them on hand and power tools, ladders, stuff like that, ergonomics. They're just like stuff that's really going to get you out of a jam. All right, so let's talk about operator certification or just certification level training. Name some things besides forklift that
Okay.
OSHA says your employees, if they're doing it, are required to be certified.
Well, I know powder actuated tools is one.
Okay.
You actually have to get licensed to operate a powder actuated tool.
It's like a gun that shoots nails, one shot.
Basically,
single shot. It's like bolt action.
Well, they got little belt fed ones now. They're
Oh, that's cool.
they're slick, dude.
I've seen belt fed on. It's like a strip
Yeah. And you just
of the blanks, but not necessarily the nails being fed like a magazine.
Oh yeah, when I was watching them go to town here, just not
That's
that long
cool.
ago down
Just
in
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was hardcore.
Nice. All right, you did that. Next one, I'll do one. Certification. Believe it or not,
I don't already.
personal
believe
fall arrest system.
Oh, you are required to be certified
Yeah.
to wear a personal fall arrest system.
Yeah, and it's been showing up in the top 10
Yep.
citations recently of 2019 and 2020, where employees are now starting to ask for proof of fall protection training, and they're figuring out that employers are not training people to wear harnesses and to identify proper anchor points and so on and so forth. So, but it's always been in the reg that they were actually required certification. I have clients scoff at me.
When you're like, hey, you got to certify your employees to wear
They're like,
PFAS.
what? Nah. You're just trying to drum up some business. I'm like, we don't charge for that. That's actually work for me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be telling it to you if you didn't have to do it.
Right.
I would sit on my desk and drink coffee instead.
Oh yeah.
But no, yeah, it's required. Look it up, check it out. In the construction standard for sure. Just got all those cool rules of theirs added into the general industry too when they did that big walking working surface update of the general industry. A lot of the construction subpart M
They got moved.
fall protections got into the general industry, which is weird. Normally it goes the other way.
Yeah.
Normally
General
regs
industry's
go
been
from
invading construction.
It always has. It was there first. HAZCOM, same standard. Forklift, same standard.
Yep.
They didn't even make up their own when they made up the constructions. It's like, take
Right.
this one, it's good. But it went the other way.
They were like, nah, you know what? We need to.
Went the other way with fall
get that
protection. Yeah. All right. So, what else for certifications? Crane.
Yep. You got to be certified to operate a crane.
The new crane standards is like subpart AA or something.
All right. I'm trying to think of the specific wording. You don't have to be certified to do confined space entry, but you do have to be
you gotta
trained.
be trained. Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, it says you have to be trained.
OSHA
not
pretty much
certified.
says you have to be trained for anything,
Yeah.
but they only bring out the big C word.
Right. I'm trying to like.
Certification, certified.
Hmm.
Well, let's go to a different word
Okay.
that also starts with the C. Competent person.
Oh man, competent person.
All right, so
Automatically.
ask AJ.
Hi, I'm AJ.
All right,
Welcome to Ask
AJ,
AJ.
here's the question.
All right.
Name as many as you can
Oh no.
standards that require a competent person.
Oh man. Okay. Well, we'll start with the easy one first.
Okay?
Scaffolding.
Bam.
Gotta have competent person for scaffolding.
Okay, when you're moving, erecting, dismantling, repairing,
Right.
you have to be eyesight of that scaffolding.
Competent person.
Okay.
Well, and then the competent person is also required to train the other employees for scaffolding.
Okay.
Ladders. In the standard, it actually says.
Oh, yeah.
Ladders must be inspected by a competent person.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It's weird. I always thought that one was goofy.
Yeah.
Trenching and excavation.
Yep, need a competent person
Gotta have a
to
competent
inspect
person.
that trench before they let anybody in there and after any hazard occurrence.
Where else does it specifically say competent person? I can think of so many places where it says trained.
I know one more.
Okay, what do you got?
Hoisting and rigging.
Which one? What does it say? It has to be a competent person that does what?
Did the inspections.
Does the inspections.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense because that's the same rule for ladders.
Yeah, so competent person is kind of a big deal. OSHA likes that term.
I'm sure it pops up all over the place.
Now, since we're talking about training today, though, Ted over there on your crew, you can't just go, hey, Ted, if OSHA comes around and asks for a competent person, you better raise your hand.
You're the competent person.
And then OSHA comes there, who's the competent person? And Ted reluctantly raises his hand.
Oh, me.
And let's say it's subpart P stuff like trenching and excavation.
Oof.
And that one video we got from Oregon OSHA?
Yeah.
Who's the competent person here?
Right.
And then they're going to start asking questions, man. And Ted better know answers, else you're still going to get cited for not having a competent person. Because even though a guy raised his hand, there's qualifications of a competent person.
I didn't know if that guy was. I'm not sure if the Oregon OSHA guy was being sneaky or not. But in that video, he goes, "Who's in charge today?" So I don't know if he's like fishing.
Well, maybe this is my take on it. Okay. You get so used to people not knowing what you're talking about when you're using legal terms.
Right.
Competent person, blah, blah, blah. You know, nobody knows the regs.
So that's what
nobody, very few. So you might get so sick of it, you just ask, who's the boss?
Right. So that he just has less hassle.
Yeah, maybe.
But in my mind, is he also like fishing? So then later, if he's like, so you're in charge, so you're the competent person. If the guy's like, oh no, Fred over there is a competent person. And he'd be like, oh, no, but you said you were in charge. Competent person is the one in charge.
Well, see, you could be a competent person of a trench and excavation and not be the foreman.
I mean, that's true. You just have to have some sort of authority.
I don't think that guy seemed pretty cool. I don't think it was too malicious. But
okay.
OSHA does have regulations on qualifications of a competent person. And since we're talking about excavation, S-A-J. It sounds too much like McDonald's. I'm telling you, we got to change the theme song.
It's different every time.
I know, but it's just in my mind, that's all I could hear is McDonald's one. We got to do it instead of like bing, bang, bang, bang. It's got to be more like power chords on a distorted guitar. Like jin, 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 ask AJ. Like death metal questions, like death metal trivia.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Next time I sit down at the podcast for it, Aaron's just gonna have like two big old amps right behind it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna play
with, like, a guitar.
All right. So anyway,
I won't even be able to answer any questions.
The question now was qualifications of that competent person. So we're talking about training today. So if someone's like, all right, I'm hearing you, evil safety dudes, I got to have a competent person, and they have to be trained. This is another training I have to provide. What do I got to do? What is the qualifications of a competent person for trenching and excavations? What do you got? How many can you come up with? Can you visualize the slide in your head?
Yeah, so there's the first part where it actually mirrors some of those same words that we always use for forklift, but it's the understanding of the regulations.
You got to know the regulation.
Yeah.
For sure. That one's on there.
Yeah.
You're not a competent person if you don't know the OSHA rules.
Right.
In OSHA's eyes, 100%.
So
that's one.
The natures of hazards regarding trenching and excavation.
Yeah, and which you could say ditto so far for scaffolding.
Right.
You got to know the competent person's got to know the subpart L.
Right.
And they got to know the hazards of scaffolding or the hazards of trenching in this case.
Right.
Okay, so that's two.
And I think there's a third one. Or maybe not. Maybe it just ends with the last one, but then they have to have a degree of, they have to be in charge, basically. They have to have subject authority. There you go.
Not so. They have to have the authority
to correct.
To correct, to make changes.
Yeah.
If you make the new guy the competent person and he speaks up and everybody says, shut up, stupid.
Oh.
If we want you to make noise, we'll squeeze your head.
Oh, my.
Then that's not actually a competent person. And that person
Right.
could have a PhD in trenching.
But
if they have no authority,
right? Who cares?
OSHA says, "Oh, I'm citing you guys first off for not having a competent person."
Yeah, hey, you guys, you're wondering why you're sinking over there. The trench is boiling. I need you to get out. Oh, screw you, dude.
Yeah, there's stuff too on knowing how to maintain, correct, identify hazards, all that stuff. Inspect is a big part.
Right, but I think that's covered under. That's why I'm picturing it. There's like a sub bullet point where it goes over inspection. Because it's talking about you have to know the knowledge of the hazards associated.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure that's covered under the inspection.
Right. So that's another form of training besides new hire, besides one-offs, besides annuals, besides certificate level, besides periodic. There's also your competent person training.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is I can't make your employee a competent person.
Should we go into an extra spiel? I don't know. I wasn't even paying attention how much time we got because we could talk about training for like podcast after podcast. We need to do a podcast on ways to train, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I kind of wanted to go into that in this one. So let's do that.
What about authorized and qualified?
Yeah. So what words, what regulations do you see those words in?
Usually electrical.
Yeah. Also hoisting and rigging.
Authorized and qualified?
No,
both?
Qualified.
Qualified.
Yeah.
I've seen qualified for rigging.
Yeah. Qualified you use quite a bit.
Yeah.
Someone, and they have definitions on that sometimes too.
Yep. And so you got to know,
training,
are you authorized?
experience.
Are you qualified?
Yeah.
All that stuff. Like there's training will go in depth. Our list has gotten huge.
You got to have the right people doing it. So when someone hires us to do a train the trainer,
Yep.
they want us to make their employee, they want us to certify them so they could turn around and certify.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest mistakes employers make is they send me somebody who doesn't want to teach.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is they're like, well, we need this done. So instead of them fishing out going, hey, who wants to instruct? Who wants to get up in front of the class, be a goof, present material, or maybe it's not even on that end of it. Maybe it's on the end of who has a passion for helping people don't get hurt.
Right.
But instead of seeking out those people, they're just like, all right, we're just going to pick this guy.
Usually they pick the best operator.
Right?
You know, they in their mind, because you could run the forklift better than anybody here, you're going to be the best trainer.
To them, it makes sense.
And it is logical.
It has reasoning behind it.
Yes, but the fact is that running a forklift and training people are two entirely different trades.
Yup.
We're in the trade of training.
Right.
Like our trade is training.
Yep.
And I take pride in that. And I teach all my instructors that I'm making, I said, you need to own this. This is a new field for you. This is a new trade. Like, you need to study it. I tell them, don't let this be the only class where you get taught how to teach. You need to, study and research and watch news clips on it. Like,
Well, yeah.
It should be part of who you are now. It's
Watch
part of
other
your trade.
trainers.
Yeah. If you're a diesel mechanic and there was a story on the news about a diesel mechanic, you would probably watch it because that's
Tune in.
you.
Heck yeah.
And so I tell people, well, if there was a story on training, you need to tune in because you're a trainer now.
Yeah.
I say you should be able to present any PowerPoint ever made, even if you don't even understand it.
I like that. Today we're doing a PowerPoint on the color blue.
Well,
we're going to go over all the different kinds of blue.
I feel a good trainer.
When is blue applicable?
Well, for sure. You can give me a fashion one because I don't really know anything about like women's fashion. But if it was a good PowerPoint and I at least read it and I knew what all the words meant and what all the acronyms meant,
sure,
I could present that and people would think I know what I'm talking about. But I don't. I just know how to present.
I agree.
Presentation skills, I think, is paramount in training.
Yeah. People have to be able to dial in onto you. I think it's more about being able to actually be, present, being able to actually be present. Be present while you present.
People love the courses we put on, and I always joke, I say, well, the bar is so low, anything we do.
That's kind of true.
Because the average safety trainer sucks really, really bad.
Well, they'll just get up, they'll just read the slides, they put zero anything into it.
Or read a manual.
None of themselves go into it.
Yeah.
And
they're
then
not
it's over.
trying to make it entertaining.
Right.
They're not trying to arrest people's attention.
Yeah. Zero story, zero input. They don't even have a reason to tune in to ask a question.
They don't tell people why they need to know this or why it's important. They just get the job done.
Yeah.
And I've sat through some horrific training in my day.
Oh, yeah.
Horrific training. And,
for sure.
So when we do even just a decent job, we seem like heroes in the trade.
Well, yeah, an hour goes by, and all of a sudden they're like, you know what? That didn't even feel like a whole hour.
That didn't even hurt, they say. That didn't even hurt.
That's not that bad.
But I want everybody's training to be like that.
I agree.
Yeah, I want everybody's training to come up to an appropriate level of training.
Poor training should be a thing of the past.
Yeah, to where we have to up our game, where I have to jump on the tables and dance because people are used to a good show. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to
so
be
you're
pushed
saying that
and
would
challenged.
be a better show.
Yeah, it would be entertaining. I would.
Hey guys, welcome to safety training. Aaron, why are you on the table? I'll get to that.
I'm getting their attention. As I'm dancing, I'm reading the slides, and they're totally tuned into me.
All right.
But I don't have to do that now. I could do a very poor job and still be better than any training they've
People
ever
are like,
had.
wow, that was the best training I've ever had. And then I'm like, wow, that was a really off day for me.
Yeah, man, I'm so off. I was
Yeah.
tired. I was irritable. I was kind of a jerk.
Sorry,
and they're
guys.
like, dude, it was good.
Yeah, that was great
It
training.
was awesome, man. I'm like, man, the training you must have had really sucked.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so sorry. But that's how it is.
It's true.
So it'd be awesome if, that could rub off and people could all up the game. But let's talk about some of the most important things that I've learned for training.
I don't know. You want to save them? I think we should do a whole podcast on tips and tricks for training.
Okay, that's good enough.
I think we should.
We talked about all the different like mandatory stuff,
Yeah.
when OSHA says, but we could do
I think we should compile
a training
Yeah.
part D
Training per day.
on like how to train.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus when you have to train.
Right.
Okay.
Today we
cool.
mostly hopefully some people got that cracked open and they're like, you know what? I got people that are doing those things. Or maybe my forklift driver, they were certified 10 years ago.
Right.
Or man, I really need to do some CPR. Maybe I just ask my company, like, I'm hoping we lit some fires today. Somebody heard something, was like,
let's just
man,
wrap
let's do
that in
it.
a bow and close out. So if OSHA comes, this is the things that you want to slap down in front of them and go, booyah! Okay.
Yeah. Like when he walks in the door, no opening conference, you just come running from the back with this pile. Booyah!
I mean, you actually, like, don't give them anything they don't ask for. But yeah, when they say, hi, we have an employee complaint that you do not provide any new hire safety orientation.
Right.
I want you to be like, well, that's funny. Here's our program right here.
Right.
Here's every person in this company, and here's a file when they were trained, and here's our curriculum, and here's the test, and blah, blah, blah. And OSHA goes, oh, well, obviously this was just a disgruntled employee. Sorry for wasting your time.
Crab.
And you go, yeah, that's right, punk. No, just kidding.
That's what I thought.
And then also when OSHA comes in and say, oh, look at that guy, run that forklift, prove to me training. You should hit all 22 points of what OSHA says you have to do.
It's a big list.
It shouldn't be over
lists, but
3 years old. When OSHA asks for seasoned employee on ladder, you should be able to provide a roster. When they notice you're far away from response time, you should be able to bust them out a unexpired roster of first aid, CPR, and AED. So on and so forth. When they start quizzing you on employee training, it would just be awesome if you're just like, pow, pow, pow.
Yeah.
What?
Heck yeah.
Ask me a hard question.
Right? Yeah.
That'd be great. But I don't know too many clients that are at that point.
No. But that's what we do.
Yeah,
so if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I really want to shore this up, contact us.
Yeah,
that is what we
won't
do.
Tell you to do stuff that you don't have to do. We'll just give you the brass tacks. We'll just give you the bottom line.
Yeah.
Once you get to compliance, then we do try to move you to best practice.
Oh man,
But we always just try to aim for compliance first.
Get there first.
All right, cool. Well, we hope you got something out of today's lessons.
I bet they did.
AJ Hanscom and Aaron Nicino together, we are the
Evil Safety Dudes.
And let's get to training, everybody. Until next time, stay safe.
Adios.